Hello, people. Today we will talk about Al Smith. Al Smith, full name Alfred Emanuel Smith, was an American politician who served as the governor of New York and became the first Roman Catholic to be nominated for the presidency by a major U.S. political party. He was a key figure in the early 20th century, known for his progressive reforms and advocacy for social welfare programs, especially during his tenure as governor. He ran for president in 1928 as the Democratic Party nominee, but was defeated by Republican Herbert Hoover. Smith's political legacy is often associated with urban and working-class issues, and he is remembered as a pioneer in the fight for workers' rights and government intervention in social issues. Al Smith was born on December 30, 1873, in New York City to a poor working-class Irish-Italian family. His father died when Al was young, leaving the family in a precarious financial situation. Smith grew up in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, a predominantly immigrant neighborhood. He had little formal education, dropping out of school in his early teens to support his family by working in various jobs, including as a fish market clerk. Despite his limited schooling, Smith had a sharp intellect and an exceptional memory, which helped him rise through the political ranks. Smith's political career began in 1895 when he became involved in the Tammany Hall political machine, which was the dominant force in New York City politics. His charisma, leadership qualities, and connections within Tammany Hall allowed him to rise quickly. In 1903, he was elected to the New York State Assembly, where he served for a decade and gained a reputation as a strong advocate for labor rights and progressive social reforms. He became Speaker of the New York State Assembly in 1913, further solidifying his role as a leader in state politics. His legislative efforts focused on improving the conditions of workers, particularly after the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911, which killed 146 garment workers. This tragedy galvanized Smith's commitment to reforming labor laws. Al Smith was elected governor of New York in 1918 and served 4 non-consecutive terms, 1919, 1920, 1923, 1928. His tenure as governor was marked by significant achievements in progressive legislation. Smith championed issues such as workers' compensation, housing reform, improved factory conditions, and expanded public health services. His administration modernized the state's infrastructure and took steps to regulate public utilities and transportation. Smith was also a strong supporter of child labor laws, shorter working hours, and better working conditions for laborers. His governance represented a shift toward government intervention in economic and social affairs, which would later influence New Deal policies. In 1928, Al Smith made history by becoming the first Roman Catholic to be nominated for president by a major U.S. political party. His candidacy was seen as a turning point for American politics, as it challenged the country's long-standing Protestant-dominated political landscape. Smith's campaign slogan, "The Happy Warrior," reflected his optimistic and energetic personality. However, Smith faced several significant obstacles during his presidential campaign. Prohibition. Smith was a vocal opponent of prohibition, which was highly popular in many parts of the country at the time. His stance alienated voters who supported the continuation of the national ban on alcohol. Economic prosperity. Smith ran against Herbert Hoover during a time of economic prosperity in the U.S., making it difficult to argue for change when the country was experiencing what seemed to be an economic boom just before the onset of the Great Depression. Smith lost the election by a wide margin, carrying only the heavily urbanized and Catholic areas, such as New York City and parts of the Northeast, while Hoover swept most of the country. Smith's defeat also highlighted the growing divide between urban and rural voters, a theme that continues in American politics. After his defeat in the 1928 presidential election, Smith distanced himself from national politics but remained an influential figure. He became a vocal critic of Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal policies, despite the fact that Roosevelt had been his ally in New York politics. Smith believed that the New Deal represented an overreach of government power and was a departure from the kind of reforms he had championed. In his later years, Smith worked in the private sector, serving as president of the Empire State Inc., the corporation that built and operated the Empire State Building. He was also active in various charitable causes, Smith's legacy as a politician and reformer is enduring, particularly in New York, where his work to improve the lives of working-class people left a lasting impact. He is remembered for his tireless advocacy for labor rights, social welfare, and government intervention to address societal inequities. Al Smith died on October 4, 1944, in New York City shortly after his wife Catherine passed away. He is buried in Calvary Cemetery in Queens, New York. Smith is often credited with laying the groundwork for modern liberal policies in the U.S., especially in terms of social welfare and labor reforms. His influence can be seen in the New Deal policies of the 1930s, though he personally opposed the direction the Democratic Party took under Roosevelt. He is also remembered as a trailblazer for Catholics in American politics, paving the way for future Catholic politicians, including John F. Kennedy. His legacy is celebrated annually at the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation Dinner, a major charity event that brings together political leaders to raise money for Catholic charities. I ask you to like the video, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you later.